This is episode 16 of the F13 podcast with your host, Brian McGinnis, and my friend,
Cliff Blazinski. Holy shit. Did you say 16?
16.
Wow. Okay, we've been at this a hot minute.
That includes 0, so 17 technically, if you want to do
it's
that.
like, I think in like Korea, your age starts at 0 as opposed to 1, so it's like a little bit off there, if I recall.
Real? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, look it up. It's I'm always and still learning.
Yes.
Yeah, you doing all right this week, man?
I'm doing all right. It's been a week. My wife went back to the teacher, so she's back by herself at school before the kids. So I have my kids all week, and then I recorded my special last week. I had a shit gig last night. It's been a very, very weird.
Wait, I thought you posted some photos on social like last night. It looked like it was a good night. Was it not?
Sure did look like it. It was not. And we actually got a lot of bad feedback from the owner, which I've never really gotten. Like, and we can talk to our guests later. We have a superstar comedian, Christian Finnegan, coming on soon. But you'll always get the hell gigs even after doing this forever. I feel like it's just going to happen, right? So this place was down in Southern Pines, North Carolina, like an hour and a half south of us, right? And cool place, really nice looking, like just like a really cool town in the middle of nowhere, like a lot of cool shops. Looks like you're walking through like a cool area, right?
Yeah, it looked it up. It had that whole kind of like Main Street USA vibe, right?
100%. This place we were at was the only place open. There's like an ice cream place and a cupcake place and a this and a that, and all these cool shops, but everything was closed. Only a Thursday night, and but so we go in. Me and my friend Dave. We get there like an hour early, and when we get to the back of the room, it was outside in a patio, by the way. And yesterday wasn't 95, but it was still 85. And it's humid and it's hot. So
why do they keep doing that? Why do they keep putting it all outside? They do that with open mic also. Ugh.
Some places do that. I don't know. So, and it was a nice place. Staff was kind of frazzled. It seemed like they were going crazy. A lot of people. It was pretty packed. Our show was sold out. Almost like 100 people there, it seemed like. I mean, long story, it was, so we started the show. No one was really there to help us. So me and Dave just kind of took it upon ourselves. The headliner was actually a few minutes late and we didn't really know him. So that was threw into the whole thing, into the little monkey wrench into it. So Dave, who you know a little bit, goes up, Dave Burrows goes up, hosts the show, and the crowd was just very chatty and not really paying attention that much. And Dave's really funny and handled it fine. And I realized within a few minutes, it's not him. He just can't get anything going, and let's see what happens. So I get up there. I'm confident in what I do, of course, but within minutes, I know I'm like, all right, it's just not working the way it usually does, right? So I'm sweating and I'm trying, and I acknowledge it a couple of times. Like, I'm not sure what you guys want. I'm trying my hardest. Let's all have fun here, And I was outside, like under like a pergola, and I'm like, hey, if this doesn't work well, I'll just hang myself in the pergola when we're done here, just joking around. And it got chuckles. And I was like,
suicide jokes always hit. I don't know why.
Like if I'm not like really serious about it, like they know I'm just joking, so it's kind of fine, right? I did my merch pitch for my book, and I was like, this is useless. I don't know I'm doing this. And it was very half-assed, but in a fun way. And, I did 30 minutes, and it was kind of like, man, I don't know. Like, I got chuckles. I got some laughs. It wasn't like a consistent, sustained laugh, right? And so the headliner, who didn't know, I'm not going to mention his name, but immediately is just like, man, fuck you guys. I don't care if you laugh. I already got paid. This place looks nice. It's going to look even better when it's finished. You guys are stingy as fuck with your laugh, and just kind of like really antagonizing.
Oh, so insulting the venue and the audience,
right? Like immediately, and I was just like, this isn't the crowd, man. He's a black comic, and I think every person there was slightly older and white, right? So not saying that they can't.
That's Southern Pines, dude.
Yeah, not saying they can't mix, because they can. I've seen it, but this wasn't a good mix, I think, right? So, and he was doing a couple of really weird jokes, and he got booed a couple times. He walked like 20 people, like they left. Some people ditched their check and left because they were so angry and all this stuff, right? So after the show, some people are just like, hey, it wasn't you. You guys are really funny. Like, they're coming up to me and Dave. You guys are really funny. It was a weird crowd tonight. I'm like, yeah, I've done worse. Don't worry about it. And there's some people from New York there, and then we were chatting about Long Island, New York, and it was fine after the show, right? So then before the owner's like, hey, you guys want anything to eat or drink? Let me know. We'll take care of you. I was like, oh, that's really nice. We'll just take a burger or whatever, right? So we eat before the show, no big deal. I said, can I pay you guys? So it's like, don't worry about it. We'll get you later, or it's fine. Like, okay. So then the headline is like, hey, did you guys eat yet? This is after the show. And I'm like, yeah, we got here at 7. You got here after 8 when the show was supposed to start. So we already ate. He goes, oh, okay, all right. So me and Dave leave. I try to find the owner to say bye and thanks. Nothing. I see the bartender. I'm like, hey, are we good for the food? He goes, you're good. I gave him $10 to say thanks as a tip. We leave. I wake up this morning to this text from the booker, 3 different screenshots of text from the owner of that place. This show is terrible, blah, blah, blah. The comics were rude to the customers and making fun of the venue and doing this and doing that. I'm reading this. I'm like, hold on. This is every critique is the headliner did this. I did none of this, right? So I messaged the booker and tell him exactly, like, dude, look, I'll take 100% of the blame if I ever did something wrong on a show, but here's what actually happened. I tell him. So the booker calls me and we chat. He goes, you guys are fine. I don't know why. He's like, I always get good reviews about you. I get good reviews about the headliner too. I'm not sure what happened. And basically, here's what happened too. The venue, people were there from like probably 7 o'clock earlier on. We got there at 7. It was already packed. Like they were waiting for the show at 8, right? People didn't get their food until the headliner was done.
So they were hangry.
Yes, so hangry, right? And people were getting their food as he was like getting off. People got their food in like to-go containers as the show was over. And some people told us, they told me after the show, that's what happened. I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense why people weren't in a good mood, right? They didn't get their food for 3 hours, right? So it was a whole thing. And the owner didn't take any responsibility for this in these scathing texts, right? So he's like, it was all the comics' fault. They didn't read the room. I was like, what, dude? Like no one, like the whole thing was fucked up, right? So it was just a weird night. It was just goes to show you that like it always happens no matter what level or how long you've been doing this, that you're going to have this.
But it's Southern Pines also, so people probably want to be in bed by like 9:30.
I mean, it was their first time doing comedy too. They've done bands there apparently, but never comedy. So I doubt they'll do it again, which is unfortunate because it could be a cool spot, but it just wasn't. It wasn't. We weren't set up to like have a good show like right away.
Yeah, I mean, I saw your post. I was like, wow, that looks like it was a great night. But no, true comedy fucking stories, man. I want to hear some of those from our guest in a little bit. I'm
sure
the horror stories. That's for those of you who haven't heard us. Good nights. I go there, nearly once a week. Brian performs on a regular basis there, and it's a really great venue. But I have a lot of pet peeves going to shows so often. Not that I'm good at it, but it's always the whole like we're below a Shake Shack, wubba wubba wubba. I'm like, we all fucking know, dude. Like that kind of thing. It's just like it's so fucking annoying.
You should finish that. Like I'm below. You should yell Shake Shack next time they do that because
like fucking. Well, when we saw that Jean the Whipper, Jack the Whipper guy, Jacques the Whipper. Apparently, when he asked for requests so he could like go to the beat with his whip and he'll improvise a song like whose line is it anyway? There's just one guy who would follow him around and always yell out Slayer, and it became like a thing where the dude literally would find him on the road and yell it out. Look it up on YouTube. It's fucking hilarious. Okay. Wait, hold on.
Yeah. For more comedy stuff, just for my own ego, how was my special last week?
I thought you did fantastic.
Thank you.
And that's one thing I'm going to mention to Chris when he comes on, watching him, like, who's this guy? Shit, I got to watch him. There's this calm confidence that you have on stage that I noticed watching Chris, he has as well, that I haven't learned trying open mic because I spaz out. Where you'll casually just put a joke out there or just like an aside and I'll just throw that out there, and like sometimes it's a joke grenade where it takes a beat for people to get it. Like for those of you who don't know, Brian was talking about getting his vasectomy, and the doctor have him drop trow and pull the shirt up, and you made just this little aside of don't get a stiffy. And that just fucking killed me. There was, I think there's little mic issues at the beginning and things like that, but that's all stuff that, can be edited.
It's crazy. So my friend who has a label, Lenny Marcus, he has a label. You need a label to get your stuff on Sirius, right? So he did this really just to help comics get their stuff on Sirius.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you can't just like independently submit it. You got to have it go through a label, which is whatever. But that's there's a whole long story. The whole thing is changing, of course, for the worse for comics. And I sent him some samples because my audio I had two people film the Neptune's, the venue itself was filming it. And also my friend Ezra, you saw him walking around probably with the camera. His side camera next to you guys actually got kind of messed up. So I only have one straight on shot from him, which is really clear, and his audio crystal clear of me. The venue audio and the camera looks really good and sounds actually really cool. It sounds more like I'm in a theater. Like it's a little, not echoey, but it sounds like I'm in like a room, right? So they're both fine. But the audience is super low on both, right? So I sent Lenny, I'm like, hey, is this okay? And he writes back, like, he calls me within like an hour. He goes, no, dude, sorry, it's not going to work. You got to re-record this. I'm like, I can't re-record this. This is a one-time shot, you know? So I'm trying to go in and see if like someone can, like, it's salvageable. I got to like chop it up and raise the audience level when they laugh and
yeah, you don't want to like be throwing a laugh track in there or any shit like that.
I'm not going to do that, but there is ways to fix it. It just kind of sucks that like the one thing I was worried about, of course, came true, and you know, but it'll take me a little longer to get it out there, but hopefully I can get it fixed.
Dude, that's fucking that's Murphy's Law. It's like, you know, Donald Mustard, formerly of Epic, he and I were demoing Shadow Complex, that really cool Metroidvania that he did with Epic, and I gave my feedback. And it was a really cool game. And people couldn't even call. They'd be like, they wouldn't even say Shadow Complex. Like, we need a new Shadow. I'm like, you can't say complex. Does everything have to be fucking abbreviated? We were doing a stage demo live at E3, and his mic just didn't like go, and like it became the whole like YouTube highlight. I'm like, this is a game called Shadow Complex that, you know, Chair Entertainment and Donald are spearheading. Take it, Donald. Donald's like,
yeah.
And it became like a joke, right? And it's just like, you know, the same thing with having a controller and you're playing an Xbox that's backstage, and then you literally have a ghost driver to playing hitting the same marks that you are. And if your shit freezes, then it just go to two.
Right.
It's the same thing with having, there's a reason why airlines have co-pilots, you know, always have, you know, contingency and backup. But fuck. Hey, so I was gonna adhere to the plan, but
of course.
The thing all over my feed is these GTA leaks. Have you been reading this shit?
I've been avoiding it because, not that I'm not excited about GTA, I can't stand how people are reacting over this game. Like, it really is a little ridiculous, I think. It's going to be a good game. We know it is. We know everybody's going to buy it. Everybody says they're not going to buy it is still going to buy it. Like, can we just have some fun, please, without it?
Well, there's this dude that I used to follow on YouTube, and he gets like 1 million+ views of everything he does. He goes by the Critical Drinker, right? And his whole thing, he's got like an Australian or English accent. I can't discern from the two usually. Unless they're like, "Lee shrimp, you Bobby," and you know, his whole thing is negativity, you know, and he says he drinks because Western cinema is such shite, right? And I'm like, a lot of it is, I get it, but it's just became this whole like, I would watch his videos, that's funny, okay, that's a good point, and it's just gotten exponentially more and more negative to hating fucking everything and not actually making good points. And then he did this whole video about these GTA leaks and hacks and things like that. And like, this is the end of this. This is going to sink GTA 6. And well, I'm like, sure, Jan, just like the Odyssey's going to fail. Yeah. Okay, dude.
Right.
And it's, you know, like, and that's half of YouTube. I've seen a few people make the case for, you know, I used to love Angry Birds. You know, Lauren and I would sit with our iPad at the pub downtown and just play the shit out of it. And then it started doing the whole, it's free to play. And if the game's free, they're going to get you on the back end. We all know that. And then they started, you know, leaning into the merchandising more than making the core quality games and things like that. And this really well thought out YouTube video, cool. And then there's another one like, why is OnlyFans failing? I'm like, not from where I'm sitting. I hear these girls are allegedly making money hand over a fucking fist, you know, fist because their guys are meh. Yeah.
Yes. It's the negativity out there for everything, especially gaming related now, is just like, it's too much sometimes. And I think that's why I am gravitating towards a lot of cozy games, because it's like, it's hard to hate those things and they go under the radar. But
dude, that was the thing that I'm wondering, is it just because we're older? Like, and I'm watching, like, Lauren was playing Gears 5, you know, because, you know, people know of me and Lauren. Anya was largely modeled after Gears for the latter games. And it was modeled after Lauren. And the thing is she played Gears 5, and it's just people doing the wall bouncing, snaking shotgun, you know, and then that's like the small player base that just knows how to do that. They don't talk online, and what they're doing with E-Day is they're trying to expand it. Enough about Gears. The thing is, you're not going to stop GTA. It's a cultural phenomenon at this point. Even if people who are playing it were probably like 6 when the last one came out, they're used to watching YouTube videos of the shit, you know?
It's the same thing with with Sony and PS6 and the digital. It's like, just shut up. Like you have
that last post that I saw, somebody like made this shitty AI image about like, no disc, no buy, essentially. And I'm like, the irony is not lost on me of you complaining about not having physical discs and then posting AI slop to protest it. And somebody made a comment that there were people, and I want to see these instances of it, where they actually made AI slop images to protest data centers in the first place. And I'm like, Jesus
idiots,
Christ.
yeah.
That's the whole, like, the axe keeps cutting down the trees kind of. I can't remember the proper saying or metaphor for that because the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. But yeah, going back to cozy games, right? Like, Expedition 33, I'm still taking a smoke break from, when I got really good at the parries and everything like that 45 hours later. And now, like, I'm like, okay, Power Wash Simulator 1, cha-ching, cha-ching. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try the sequel. And they fixed a lot of the problems I have with the first one. And then I'm back at it. There's this giant barn. I'm like, okay, I can get that. If I hop a little bit, I get that all that crack. And then I looked it up. Do you know how many copies or users overall the first one had?
I would say like 5 million.
17 million.
17 million people bought Power Wash 1. I love it.
Well, across all platforms, apparently.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm like,
That's
holy
great.
shit. Because, you ever like play something that's like really cool and it's not even that much of a game per se. There's like this whole meta story or like their elder water gods coming back as the Mare even human. Where's with this lost cat? I don't fucking know. But it's just like, shh. And Lauren, like, she laughs because I'm across from her in my PC, and until she's streaming, my speakers are on. She's like, she hears shh, ding, shh, ding. She's like, you're back at it. I'm like, you play Pokemon Go. And now you're playing, what is the new, like, is it Digimon or Neopets or whatever those,
Pokia, whatever. I don't even know.
That too, she's playing Pal World. It's like, Jesus Christ, she loves that shit. But it's like, cozy games, man. And I love that that's a term. You have cozy and sweaty. And it's just a thing.
Yeah, I just played the Restory, where you have to restore old electronics like Ataris and Lynxes and fake like Game Boys and DSs, and it's just like a really it's just a mesmerizing.
You may have mentioned that last time, right?
Yeah,
and I looked up the video. I'm gonna play it. It's just like you have this little window, and people come visit, and you literally are like sitting there, like
that's it. Yeah, you dust off an old Atari Lynx. You take apart a Game Boy. You take apart an old Motorola phone. That's all it is. And it's just like chill. That's all. I beat it. And I'm still playing. I'm playing like the extra content after you beat it. Yeah.
My Lynx upstairs still works when I give a tour of Epic. Yeah, I got California games on it because the surfing mechanics and that were just so fucking good.
I played California games probably. My most played Commodore 64 game was California games. I played the footbagging, a hacky sack one so much, the BMX so much, the surfing so much. I love that game. And I think the Commodore was one of the best versions. Lynx had a really good one too. The Nintendo one wasn't that great, unfortunately, but a lot of people played that because of Nintendo. But the Commodore and the Lynx one have really good versions of that for some reason.
Yeah, the Lynx was so underrated. I mean, when Lauren finally got the Steam Deck, I was like, yeah, it's pretty much the same size. What's old is new. I'd love to see an updated satirical California games where you're like out running wildfires and fentanyl addicts and things like that. Like everything that red state people claim California is these days, in spite of the fact that real estate is still through the roof. So they're doing something fucking right. Hey, just quick,
just running through the Chinese theater district where like Spider-Man's trying to take a picture with you. No, get out of here. You got to dodge him.
Somebody did a documentary about. There's like a hierarchy with those costume people, right? Where they like, this is my corner, and they get in fights and shit. Have you ever watched that? It's
I know there is, but I haven't seen it. But yeah, that's crazy. What were you gonna say?
And fucking Batista is taking over as Kratos in God of War.
We haven't mentioned this yet. So the original guy tore his bicep or something like that, so he's out for a year, and they had to recast him. I would hate to get that gig and then lose it like that. But Batista, I think, body wise, he's gonna look like him. I don't know if like the acting wise and everything, but hopefully he does. Hopefully they do a good job.
Batista's best acting is when he's subdued. Right,
yeah.
But Kratos, we'll see. I think
not all the time.
I think Batista's the best wrestler turned traditional actor out there. And the fun fact is, this is me name dropping. My buddy Lonnie Perister actually is working on it, and he and I caught up recently. And he was like, "Yeah, the prior guy, like they rehearsed that stunt a bazillion times, and then one time tears the bicep, and the recovery time, the show must go on." Yep. And I'm catching up on House of the Dragon. It's like executive producer Lonnie Perister. This new episode, he did the whole last season opening with the boat fights. He directed that fucking episode. And yeah, he's been at it forever. He worked on Buffy. He worked on Banshee, all sorts of other things, American Horror Story. And he's just completely, they say in Hollywood you fail upwards, but he's succeeded upwards, and he deserves everything he has. And I'm looking fucking forward to it, man.
Yeah. This is an aside. I'm not sure if it's me. You're a little choppy. The sound is fine. I'm just letting you know if you pause it for like a second every now and then. It's not a big deal.
That's the weird thing is yours is doing that on your end.
Okay,
from when I'm looking at you. So let me kill my other PC for 2 seconds. Everybody sit tight. I'll be right back because you never fucking know with technology.
Never know. I will. We're gonna edit this out of the YouTube. I'll just talk now so people can actually keep listening if they want to. Did anybody play Restory? Let us know. Are you excited about the new God of War? I am. I don't know if they make it the same story as the game, the first reboot in 2018. I'm into it. I think that'll be really cool to see that in live action. I hope Atreus isn't too annoying as he was in the game, but also best sidekick in a game ever. I think. I was talking to our fans about Atreus being the best sidekick in a video game.
Was that the boy?
In God of War 2018. I thought it was just the way you controlled him was awesome. I thought it was very simple, and it worked really, really good.
It is really, really difficult to do an AI character like that. If you look at the little
like
girl,
a sidekick,
the girl in Pragmata, 90% of the time she's just like on your back, right? Because they're just like, we don't want to deal with all the pathfinding and shit. It's really fucking good. You're still hitching a little bit. So I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I don't know. Do you want to play our what we got a speak pipe comment?
Oh, we do.
Yeah, let's play this from our old friend Frazzleberry, who messages I think every week so far since we've done this. Speakpipe.com/F13 podcast, folks. You can leave us a message or a question or a comment or a fart, whatever you want. But this is a funny one here we got from Frazzleberry.
All right, hey guys, Frazzleberry, third-time caller, long-time listener, big fan of the show. I have a question. It's going to be a fast question. I'm driving like a psycho right now. I'm in the Cornell region of New York, upstate New York. Kids are back in town. It's completely chaotic, but this is not the question. The question is...
I thought he was like, I'm driving like crazy. There's kids all over the place. Like,
I know, right? What could possibly go wrong?
Stood out to you?
What game?
First game that stood out to you?
Okay.
For me, it was Metal Gear Solid. I'm in third grade. Metal Gear Solid drops the demo disc. I got a Pizza Hut demo disc with Metal Gear Solid on it, and I played it so much. It's like the first 20 minutes of the game. I loved it. Game comes out, I buy it. Meryl gets shot to death. I'm third grade, dude. I'm fucked up. I'm young. I'm scared. My girl just got shot. Josie and the Pussycat movie's coming out. Somehow I'm affixed to both her and the fucking Meryl character. I don't know what's happening. What game stood out to you guys? Please tell me.
I love the tangents he goes on, by the way.
Well, that was I think Rachel Weisz. I think no, it wasn't Rachel Weisz. It was I can't remember the name. This Pretty Little Vernacular was big in the '90s, and they made that as like a statement on like commercialism when they did that Josie and the Pussycats movie. But yeah, it was obviously going all the way back, showing my age. Was Space Invaders in the 2600? Was I can move shit on a TV, and the rest is history.
Boom, 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 boom. That's the best music in Space Invaders. Mine was I'll go a little more current. When I saw, I guess it was NBA 2K6 or 7 in a GameStop on a PS3 for the first time, blew my mind because those graphics and the fluidity, everything about going from like a PS2 to a PS3 in sports games was, for me, insane because it looked. I think
for me that started going back to the Dreamcast, where when you look close, you could really easily see, but at a distance, became the whole like person walking to the room. Oh, who's playing? And then when they play, oh, it's a game. And now when the kids were visiting, my wife with the nephew was playing one of the recent NBA games. And looking at and knowing what I know about animation systems, same thing with the MMA games for them to grapple like that and to have the moves work out well. it is the amount of systems involved. It's just crazy. But the fact that they've been iterating on that for how long and tuning these systems, it looks nearly broadcast quality at this point. And that's, going back to the whole EA, like, can a game make a person cry? Look, you can see, the little interior of a person's tear duct right here. Who the fuck cares? But in sports games, after a good play, when you see the guy sweating and you can see the facial stubble and his shitty tattoos, I say this to someone with some shitty tattoos, so I can say that. You're like, wow, we're here. And, you can see your Knicks in all their glory, dude.
Yes, someone put like a filter or a mod on like their PC 2K26 and made it look like 8K TV broadcast, and it's just like it's insane what it looks like. It looks like you're just watching live TV.
Dude, a buddy of mine who's playing in the AI space, my old art director, Chris Perna, look him up on Instagram. He does these insane monsters and everything like that. It's one of those things that he sends me occasionally, something that's done with AI, and somebody made a version of GTA 6 that takes place in North Korea. And it looked really hilarious, but also really, really good. And I'm like, is this playable? Was this pre-rendered? Because one of my favorite, and I've shared this to you, and, for those of you who don't know, Brian is not a fan of AI, which I respect because, his job is, comedy and VO. And some of the VO shit's getting eerily good, and I think it's fucking. Who knows where it's going to go? But I think some of the stuff for comedy is hilarious.
I get it. I understand how amazing it is. And I just got a Pixel 11 yesterday, right? And like it might as well. It's like the way the phone turns on, it just says Gemini Intelligence. It doesn't say Pixel, doesn't say Google. It just says Gemini Intelligence. The whole phone is just like it does everything for me. I get it, but like for the art stuff, that's where I'm like I got to draw a line somewhere.
Well, I mean, this group, Cursed AI, it just, they have so many like Mad Magazine style comedic bits. And one of the ones they did was, the prompt was create the most clickbait YouTube image imaginable. And I was sitting there like scrolling. Hey, Lauren, look at that one. Look at this one, because there's a whole, and again, there's another blog post on my public Facebook I want to do. Lauren said to the niece yesterday, like, oh, he mentioned you in his blog. And the kid goes, what's a blog? I'm like, imagine TikTok that's more than 15
my
seconds.
back hurts. Hello, my back hurts.
But you have to read some shit. And but the whole like that culture of YouTube thumbnails that still to this day perseveres, where it's like the giant font that's often like 50-foot monsters coming in kind of thing, and arrows and you won't believe it. It's always the whole like face, and every single one of them is so fucking punchable. But the thing is KLTS kids love that shit, and that's what works.
I'm gonna actually try to hardwire my shit. Give me like 30 seconds. Talk to the crowd. I'm gonna see if that fixes my internet here.
Yeah, cool. So it's not my problem. Maybe it's his. I don't know. That's one thing I used to say when I did like to drink, is technology was why I drank, because you'll have something that completely works perfectly fine, and then suddenly just boop, stops working. Like first world problems. We have a projector downstairs, and I love going down there at night and being like watching some shit. And then we had a surge protector installed in the house, and then it just stopped working. And it turns out there's a part of it that has to be electrical tape to the top of it, so the IR can be read and everything like that. And it had fallen off coincidentally. Nobody touched the fucking projector, and then thankfully, because I'm a Luddite, in spite of having worked in games as long as I have, my wife's up there with the flashlight, phone light, obviously, and fixing it, and she got it going. And I'm like, the same thing with this microphone setup. Beacon's awesome, but the software is so complex with balance and everything, and whenever the computer boots up, it gives me this suite of audio balance, but then I still have to go to the back, go unplug, replug in for it to work. And then getting back to the whole, are we using Teams, are we using Google Hangouts, are we using fucking Zoom, are we using smoke signals? What the fuck are we doing here? I don't know.
I'm excited about that rant, to check it out later.
Were you just running on Wi-Fi at that point?
Yeah, and I have a Ethernet cable. I just plugged it in and I switched real quick.
Oh yeah, man. I don't trust Wi-Fi unless I'm casually dude, Ethernet all the way. Remember there was an old meme. It's like, what's the Ethernet used for? It's used to catch the ether bunny. Hey, you could use that one for your act.
I'm gonna remove you from the stream. No. Our guest will be joining us in 2 minutes. I've just been notified, which is very exciting.
Very cool. So one other thing we never talked about was I had a point that I made. I was having a conversation on my socials, talking about how the press and gamers in general rate games, because it goes back to when I was working on the shooters that I've done. Once in a while they'd find like somebody who's a fan of like RPGs, Final Fantasy games, and they assign them to review like an Unreal Tournament or Gears, and the person's just not gonna fucking like the game. It's just not their thing. And then, that's the whole debacle about mixtape when it came out. And, you can say what you want about it being the Oracle guy's daughter. Is it a plant? They somehow got all this great music in perpetuity. Put that over here for a second. The fact that it hit a chord with a lot of gaming journalists who were, in their late 30s, early 40s. I thought it was a fun, breezy 2.5 hours. I enjoyed it for what it was. But it was just like, how did you give this one game an 8, but that a 10? And so my proposal, and I don't know how to manage this, and I'm just throwing this out there, is we should have genre ratings, like, and compare this. Mixtape should be rated compared to like a Gone Home or Life is Strange, as opposed to fucking Expedition 33 or Modern Warfare or GTA. Like, put it in a bucket, and that's the lens that you view it from. That will that fuck with the aggregate sites? Sure, but the aggregate sites, half, 3/4 of the time, usually they're right. And I love that they also have the audience score and Rotten Tomatoes, right?
Yeah.
I'll click in and be like, we went and saw Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miyamasa, which I appreciated and respected for what it was going for, about the line between sex and violence and your memory of things like that, and gender ideology and how that played into sleepaway camp in the 80s. There's a lot to unpack there. But I was like, okay, I get where you're going for. Not really for me, but the reviews were like 98%. I'm like, like I like movies when I go home and I Google it to figure out somebody's long take on it. But for that one, I was just like, and then audience rating, sometimes that can be the whole, like, what the audience really likes versus what the critics like. There's often a huge discrepancy there,
Yeah. I mean, I used to review some things. I've turned down stuff like, I don't play those type of games. I wouldn't be the right person. It's as simple as that. But to give a game like that, because it is such a different type of game, like, you need someone who enjoys that, because you can't, if someone only plays Madden and you have them go play, this beautiful indie game, it's like, they'll go, what is this shit? This is stupid. It's like, no, dude, this is right. This is what a video game is now. You know what I mean? It does.
Well, it goes back to, somebody had mentioned, we were having a conversation in a recent other call about why I loved Expedition 33, and everyone's like, oh, you should try the Souls games, you should try Elden Ring, and I'm like, I don't want to spin around a boss with a huge health bar and poke him in the butt and evade for 45 minutes to 2 hours. That doesn't seem fun to me. A lot of people love it, cool, and they're like, well, there's a multiplayer Elden Ring, it's called like Dark Knight or something like that, and I went to go download it. And I got a warning on Steam. It's like, this doesn't look like what you usually play. Would you like more information? Would you, Starship Troopers, would you like to know more? And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? It's like if I was walking into, Teenage Sex and Love and Camp Miyamasa, and somebody was at the front being like, this doesn't look like the kind of movie you normally would go see.
Yeah. And
this goes back to the classic old Folgers ad that Airplane parodied, where it's like, Jim never has a second cup of coffee.
Right.
and that's one thing I learned early in our marriage, is when your significant other wants to try something new or different, and anytime I'm like, she's like, you usually get the chicken tikka masala, but now you're getting the vindaloo. Like, who are you? Who did I marry? I'm like, let me have a second cup of coffee, woman. Yeah. Boom, threw Lauren under the bus right there.
Look at that. The 33-minute mark, Lauren. We're so sorry. That's pretty good, though.
I held on as long as possible.
That was good. One more game I thought about, what Frazzleberry's question was, what game kind of stopped you in your tracks? Seeing like the really, really cool looking Super Nintendo games, Battletoads and Battle Maniacs, Super Metroid, things like that were just like, because we were used to the 8-bit stuff. And then when that came out, you were just like, holy shit, man, is this what we're getting now? This is awesome.
Dude, there's something inherently, I guess, because of the jazz stuff I did where you're in deluxe paint, you're getting a nice grace. There's something about that 16-bit era and that delicious pixel art that still to this day, it just speaks to me. And Lauren's doing this whole meta game with her little gargoyle in her stream, where you can actually play the game within her stream. And this little gargoyle, all this little cute little pixel art she's been doing. And every time she shows me, like, yeah, they can get like a little ham bone. And I'm like, oh, look at that little pixel, it's so good. And I think that's partially why I love, Shovel Knight and all those little pixel games that came along, because that's such a, that was the whole conversation we were having with Mike Wilson about constraints force creativity. Right. And that's why, like it's, what was that sound from In the Air of the Night by Phil Collins, where the drum was slightly fucked up? The mic was going back to your audio being fucked up earlier, what we were talking about in your special, where the mic was not positioned properly. And so it sounds like somebody banging on a trash can where the beat breaks down.
Yes.
And it had this like tinny, crunchy sound to it. And that wound up being like fucking amazing, like this iconic sound. And so that's, one of these ideas for a studio name, if I were to ever get around to it, is two cars. The logo would be two cars crashing with big fender benders, and the two people getting out from either car and going, ha ha, maybe cheersing each other because they're probably drunk, and calling it Happy Accident, which is just emergent gameplay and whatnot.
That's what I call my children, or the second one at least, Happy Accident. Speaking of, hey, our guest is here. Are we ready to bring on our super guest today?
Yeah.
Love this guy, good friend. He's been one of my favorite comedians for such a long time, and he's such a funny dude. Christian Finnegan is here, everybody.
Oh my god, dude.
We're in an arena.
See you. And I love coming in on a conversation about the gated snare.
Yeah,
is that actually what it's called?
Yeah. Yes.
Christian Christian.
Very well met, sir. I was not aware of your work until Brian had alerted me to it, and I've spent the last few days binging on it, and I'm not going to try
and
reference
good company of people.
My balls sticking to my leg whenever I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
What's up, man? How are you?
Oh man, I'm fine. I was going to try to really say I was great, but then I really took inventory. I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Were you really stuck in Alaska?
I was. Yes. I was pouring on a cruise ship. I don't want to brag. But I was on an Alaskan cruise, and I was stuck at the airport for like 7 hours, and then I had to take a red eye. And I am 53 years old, and those red eyes, not really taking it as well as I used to.
Yeah, man.
So I'm feeling a little out of sorts. But other than that, I'm dandy.
Thank you for joining us. I thought this would be a fun convo. But two massholes here, both of you.
What town are you from, Cliff?
North Andover.
I grew up in Acton. Which does not sound good in a Boston accent.
Well, but did you ever see the, I think it was Seth Meyers did the Boston accent, the movie, and just naming like Braintree and Worcester and all that stuff, right? Bro. It's like one of those things. I live in North Carolina now, and I always tell people this is as far fucking north as I'll ever live for the rest of my life. And growing up there, like you just, I remember like the blizzards we'd get. And, there was one day where we actually mowed the lawn the same day that we wound up having to shovel the sidewalks. And it's just like, and people there, they just put up with it. And everybody's just these like salty, not everybody, but a lot of the people up there, the townies, they hang out at the 99. Just, they never went anywhere.
I try to tell people about the 99. People don't understand.
What's that?
People don't get it. The 99 Club 99 was like a restaurant / bar that your parents would go to. Like I think it was meant to feel like a local watering hole kind of like restaurant, but it was a chain, but it was just a really shitty restaurant chain. But it seemed very exotic when I was 8 years old.
Yeah, it was like a Temu Fridays before Fridays became.
Yeah, exactly.
Temu Fridays, I love it. So Christian does one of my new favorite things. I guess a new thing that you do lately that I love is your musical substack called New Music for Olds, which is a perfect title. I'll say that it's you're such a good writer. It's such a funny thing that you do. You will basically find 4 or 5 bands or songs that you're a big music guy. We can get into that in a second. And you can just do a quick review about them. It's always like one paragraph, but it's so funny. And then you do like a
little embedded sample too.
Yep, embedded sample. So you click on it. And I usually will never listen to this stuff otherwise. And then there's stuff that I found through you that I'm just like, this is actually pretty fun. I will add this to my playlist. Look at that. And which is, I guess,
I'm happy to hear that. And it's like, and it's not even like vintage 90s hip hop, which is my thing. Pretty much your K-hole that you fall into.
Yes.
I my governing philosophy with what I write about these bands is, would this be the conversation I had with a friend in a car about it? Do you know what I mean? And then of course I try to spice it up with a little, jokes and whatnot, but it's like, I read a lot of music criticism and it's like, this band's shimmering guitars in there, and it's a bunch of just shit that they pulled from Wikipedia. And it's this, the whole exercise is meant to make you look knowledgeable as the person. Like it hints of so and so, and
like wine snobs is what the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like wine snobs, and which is funny because I actually do have a pairing suggestion for every song. But about
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
While you're listening to the song, yeah. But my governing thing is like these are not the conversations you have with your friends about music. Like sometimes you might love a song because it literally reminds you of the time some kid shit his pants in 5th grade. You know what I mean? That might literally be the reason that you like a song, you know, or it reminds
when
you
you
of
see
some
that kid
event.
at the reunion, you're like, yeah, you're pants shitting Ricky. I remember you. But I mean, the thing about music is that, you know, when I saw that, I'm like, you know, I'm going to be coming back here because my theory was my wife just had her birthday recently, which I try to make special. She just wanted to have girls over and then stream. Cool. Fine. But the thing is after 35, birthdays suck. And it's impossible to find new music. And Chris Rock's one of my favorites of all time. And he said, whatever music you were listening to when you first started getting laid, you will love for the rest of your life. And when my dad died, my mom moved us out to Southern California in the 90s. And then it was just listening to like Dre and Pac and all of that. And like that whole, like, you know, The Chronic, in my opinion, is like the greatest rap album of all time. And that's what I love. And for my wife, it's Avril Lavigne. And whenever her and I are like, what do you want Alexa to play right now? And I'm like, you know, Tupac or Dre or Ice-T or Ice Cube. And she's like, no, Avril Lavigne or Paramore. I'm like, let's get some new shit. And that's why, apart from, you know, you doing God's work right there, by the way, leading into the nieces and nephews, I'll text my nieces and nephews, like, tell me what to listen to.
What's
and the 12-year-old niece replied, because I actually Googled like 30 minutes before, like, what's Fetty Wap up to these days? And I shit you not, the 12-year-old replied just Fetty Wap. I was like, what the how do you even know who the fuck Fetty Wap is? Weird, man.
No Fetty.
Yeah, I mean, as you get older too, the things that you consider new music are like not considered new music by like young people. Like, you know, this new artist, who do I hear about? You know, Avril Lavigne or, you know, or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's 20 years ago. It's new to you. I mean, part of it is that, you know, you are a sponge at a certain point in your life. From the ages of like 10 to 22 is when you have 75% of your core memories, you know, and so you are just sucking in experiences, and music is usually the soundtrack to a lot of those experiences. And so you love them on a level that's different than just, oh, I like the way this guitar sounds, or I like this vocal. Like they're woven into your fucking personhood, you know? And so you're always going to go back to those songs, and the algorithm, for lack of a better word, it will trap you in that hole so much. You know what I mean? Like, even though you have this buffet of the world's music available to you at any time, if you just, you know, the algorithm will learn what you listen to and just kind of keep feeding you that, or things that sound exactly like that. And, you know, and when you say that it's impossible to find new music, it is and it isn't. I mean, it is because of the sort of needle in a haystack feeling of just like, where do you start and whatnot. And my whole feeling is just like, dip your cup into the water. You know, you're not going to get it all, but like, there's always good stuff coming out. And I will never, ever try to tell somebody that. I will not tell you what's cool. I don't know. I have no idea. And some of the stuff I like ends up being kind of popular. Most of it, probably not. I'm not trying to be like elitist or exclusive, but you can always have a new song that you like. You can always have it at the drop of a hat, if you were just willing to just click play on a bunch of things. And when you find a song that you really like, and you're not going to love it the way you did when you were 16, because that's impossible. You're not capable. We're not capable of love in that way at this point in our lives.
At this age.
But you can kind of give your life a bit of a new car smell for a week by having a song that's new that you listen to 20 times. You know,
it's actually a really, really good way of putting it.
It is
what you said about like that whole age gap, you know, and not gap, but the age range of, you know, like mid-teens to 20 something. We had a conversation with a prior guest, Tom Bissell, who wrote some really, really influential video games. And we were talking about that nostalgia, where people hit me up about my prior work. Like, give me that memory back. Give me those memory berries. It's like, you were at a different point in your life, and there may be things that are just as good, if not better, that are out now. But that was such a formulative point in your life that music or that game or that movie just hit at some, you know, primal fundamental level. And that was, you know, can you ever get back to that? You know,
no,
I don't know.
When people say, oh, music was better in the 90s, like, no, you were better in the 90s. That's really what it is. And and yeah, you're not, the stuff that you enjoy now, you're not going to enjoy with the same intensity or for the same maybe duration of time as the stuff that you liked when you were a teenager. But okay, so what? Yeah. There's still stuff to enjoy,
But we can all agree that at least but rap has turned into mumble rap garbage compared to 90s rap and 80s rap.
I don't, there's good stuff out. And that's the thing I also believe is there is stuff out there. There is whatever you like. There are 10 bands out there who sound exactly like De La Soul or would not sound exactly like them, but you would like aura. In the same way you like for the same reasons. But course. Again, it's that needle in a haystack thing. It's just a question of trying to.
I blame fentanyl, and the whole rap game is a whole other conversation that we had. These old 50 something year old dudes are having a conversation about, because once in a while, when I saw Takashi 6ix9ine was a thing, and I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Yeah. And then every once in a blue moon, I'll look him up, and I think he went to jail for some shit. And
didn't he die? Or did he?
No, no, that was little something or other. Let's over. Growing up, we had Big Pun, we had Biggie Smalls, and now it's little this, little that. And I still like Lil Wayne, but Takashi just looks like he smells. And there's a famous video of him with a obviously rental Lamborghini, and he's taking stacks of hundreds and just throwing it in his driveway and throwing it in his driveway. I'm like, what the fuck? And then there's a later video of him being on a podcast where he's like, no, those were all just fake. Because you can go to Amazon and just buy, if you look closely, it says for prop purposes only. And he admitted, he's like, I'm an entertainer. I was entertaining people. And I'm like, and I felt like some Scooby-Doo shit. I knew it, but
that was true of Ice Cube. That was true of all, Ice Cube wasn't some or gangster, you've seen that photo of his school photo where he has his collar popped and pink shirt and all that. It's all play acting to a certain degree.
Yeah, sure.
But my theory about the whole mumble rap thing is two things: is home recording and headphones. Those are the two things that have made rap be all mumble, because now people are doing a lot of recording at home. And people are listening to things on headphones all the time. And so this whole intimacy, this idea of you're just whispering in my ear, is a much bigger deal than when Chuck D would have to be shouting at a concert. You know what I mean? Because rap used to be more live.
Boy!
Yeah, they have to be physically louder and hit harder.
It's not a bad theory.
Now, everything is just so in your ears.
That's a really, really good theory. It's almost like that whole ASMR shit, right?
Yeah, I think there. Yeah, I think there's some.
Brian bringing in smooth jazz on K93.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way, but you might be right. Even I still think it sucks, but you might be right.
Oh no! There's a quick side note. Christian, Brian gives me shit because I throw my wonderful wife under the bus on here all the time, but. Which I will right now, because I call her Mumbles McGee, because we live in a big stupid house, and I'll hear across the house and there's a joke when you are married, half of the marriage is saying what from another room, what. 100%, so then when she actually projects her voice, she's like, I feel like I'm yelling. I'm like, no, this is how normal people talk. My theory is she grew up playing Counter-Strike and World of Warcraft, where she had the headphones and the mic, and she's like, I'm going to the bomb, I'm defusing the bomb. And it was some Terry Gross on fresh air kind of voice.
She is very soft. She is very soft spoken, Lauren. Yeah.
Well, and also though, I do think, and I don't want to make presumptions about your wives compared to mine or whatever, but I do think sometimes my wife will say things at a volume she knows I'm not going to hear, but she wants me to know she said something. And it's a way of making me then come to her. And then also just kind of it's a way of kind of almost denying accountability for what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? I think I do it too.
I didn't want this whole chat to be fawning about your bits that I had perused, but that's the delicate line apparently with comedy, with talking about your spouse, is how much, flipping it back to throwing you under the bus versus, the whole, she's like, I got all day. How long you got, that whole, that playing that long game of a fight. Right. And because the wife always wins, dude.
A joke of yours that I still talk about all the time, Christian.
Tell me all the jokes that you like.
So you ready for this one? So whenever I'm at a restaurant and I see somebody by themselves, you know where I'm going? I
do.
I like this one.
You have this joke where you sit there, you pretend you're like, happy anniversary, Margaret, or whatever it is. You're by yourself and your wife died.
Just stare at the chair for 20 minutes and then say happy anniversary, Karen.
It's so funny. Your wife did the sweetest thing for me recently. Did you even know? Like,
what did she do for you?
We watched the Knicks together. Me and you are a big
We
Knicks
did.
fan. We go way back. So I went back to New York. We watched the game together. You, your wife, some friends of ours, and within a few weeks, I got a package in the mail that mailed down here to Raleigh, and it was like the New Yorker issue from like that week with Jalen Brunson on the cover. She goes, "I'm so happy for you and Christian, everybody else. Oh, you guys, you deserve this." And it was just such a nice thing to do. I loved it. I have that still.
She does things like that all the time, and it makes me feel like such a scumbag because it never even occurred to me to do that. She'll like, I'm gonna watercolor something for somebody.
Yes,
like, okay.
Sam does. My wife does that too. She'll do. I'm like, I didn't even think of that. That's such a really nice thing to do. It's a normal nice thing which I just don't think about. Yeah.
I have this. I'm more of a first do no harm kind of person, whereas like I'm not going to like make your day worse, but I'm probably not going to make it better either. Do you know what I mean? Whereas my wife will have an effect on you, be it positive or negative.
Christian Finnegan applying the Hippocratic Oath to everyday life.
Yeah, pretty much. I just like, I'm a leave no trace kind of guy. You know.
But you've been married for what? You said something like 17
just
years
had
or
20-year anniversary this past week.
Holy shit! Yeah, we just in August we had our
14. You're the same as us. Yeah, 14 is us.
14. That's cute.
Yeah,
14.
and that's the other Chris Rock bit. It's like at some point you've heard everything this person has to say. Like, go get kidnapped, have some new shit happen to you, and I mean it's a joke. But my whole thing is like, you know, in relationships, friendships, you know, family, like make new memories. I had my in-laws visiting up the ass this whole summer, and in the grand scheme of in-laws, they're good people. You don't just marry somebody, you marry their fucking family. But I was like, let's go to Frankie's Fun Park, the local, like, you know, mini amusement park. Let's go out to dinner. Let's go to a movie. Let's do stuff, just so we're not just sitting around the kitchen going, huh, do you remember that one time? Like, it's especially with family, right?
Yeah. Well, my wife and I we have very odd relationships with our family. So like our families don't interact with us the way that other ones do. Like, first of all, like only my dad is living. And so like he's in assisted living. So it's not like we see him a lot. I go to see him a lot, but my wife won't.
And your wife's dad, who she wrote a book about, right? Your wife.
Yeah, my wife's dad. He's passed now, but he was in jail for attempted murder. So,
holy shit.
So not a lot of Christmases together. And he's deaf, or he was deaf, so it made it additionally difficult to interact with him.
When's the Netflix special on that dropping?
I do. There is one of my albums. I do a chunk about him being in jail, but I don't mention him being deaf, because it's just too much. It's like I learned from doing bits on stage where I'd be like, "Oh, my father-in-law is attempted murderer," and that would be enough people. And then I'd be like, "And also he's deaf," and it's like too much. No, like it's like a story that has too many, you know, subplots.
That would be a tough one to bring back around.
Yeah, but I mean, my mother-in-law I get along with quite well. She is also deaf, but she can actually speak. Like, she has like 2 nuclear grade hearing aids, and she can read lips and speak. Whereas my father-in-law was like what they call profoundly deaf, which means he couldn't speak or anything like that.
More lazy deaf, just didn't even try.
Yeah, just really just no work ethic at all. Just leeching off the system.
Attempted murder. Couldn't even finish the murder. It was just attempt.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, just
get with
clearly an underachiever.
He couldn't hear the sirens coming, you know.
Yeah,
I mean that's actually true. It's literally true. But,
no shit.
I mean, he was. Yeah, I mean, they walked in on him, and he was like over her. He was his third wife. He cut her throat and stabbed her like 5 times, and they walked in, and she was like in his like lap, bloody, you know, and so. Yeah.
Real.
Wow.
And
good time.
He said that she had cut her own throat to spite him.
Yeah.
And then in the process of trying to get the knife away from her, she got stabbed a few times. You know how that happens.
That's like Chicago, where he's like, he ran into my knife. He ran into my knife 9 times. Or
the tale is all this time.
Yeah.
So do you want to plug the book?
My book?
Yes, sure. It's a wonderful book.
Both of you have books.
Burn Down the Ground was my wife's. I don't have a book, but my wife wrote a book about 10 years ago called Burn Down the Ground. It was a New York Times bestseller for a little while. Mm-hmm. And this actually, Marley Matlin owns the rights to it. And so hopefully they're going to maybe try to make
that'd be cool.
Some sort of film or TV, something about it called Burn Down the Ground. It's super. And everyone should buy it.
I love that. That's very cool. Let's talk about comedy for a bit. You've been doing it for quite a
Must we?
while. Quite
6
a
weeks
while.
now.
6 weeks, doing great. 6 weeks, 6 albums.
Yeah, that's it. An album a week. That's the pace I'm trying to keep up.
Brian, can we do the villain origin story? Like
For
how for Christian? How'd you
For
get? I know
how'd you get
your
started?
story.
Yeah.
yeah. How'd you, like when did you get the bug? Like who did you love growing? Like when you were growing up, who did
I
you
have
watch?
no
Like,
marketable skills, so my options were limited from the jump, which made things easy. I don't know. I mean, I grew up kind of hating stand-up in a way. I think on some level because I wanted to do it and just hadn't admitted it to myself. But when I was in college and, I was very much the sort of like black turtleneck, fake John Lennon glasses. Like I was a playwriting major in school. Like I read the works of Bertolt Brecht and
like that was amazing slam poetry. Snap, 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 snap.
That equivalent, that sort of vibe. And then after I graduated college, I worked in publishing for a while. And just, for me, I like performing, but I hated the idea of being an actor where you're just kind of like waiting around for people to give you work. And so stand-up felt like, okay, like you're performing, but it's yours and you can just do it. I mean, that's the great thing about stand-up as compared to other art forms.
It's the best and worst thing about it. Anybody can do it wherever they want.
Yes. Anybody can do it wherever they want. And, there's no entrance fee. And when I say entrance fee, I'm even like having to learn an instrument or something, you know what I mean? That like not everyone can be a guitar player. I mean, because not everyone's going to have the discipline or the hand coordination to do that. Like literally anybody can get up at an open mic and think that they're doing stand-up. But the nice thing about that, like you said, the upside is that there's no barrier. You can just do it, and that was very appealing to me.
Yeah.
But that was 1997, I think. When I first started.
That's awesome. And you started in Boston area?
No, I started in New York. I went to college in New York, and I didn't start until I was like 24, which is late by many comedian standards. Yeah. I never really like those comedians who start when they're like 17 years old because they have nothing to talk about at all because they've never not been a comic. And so all they can talk about is
Chris Rock.
What is the deal with your smartphone breaking?
But it's just those are the ones who they just talk about jerking off all the time. Like my wife owned a venue in New York for 11 years, and there were open mics.
QED, one of the best.
Yeah. Brian, a regular there. But I would be there a lot during the open mics, just filling in, and the number of like porn jokes, just tired, lazy jerk off jokes that I had to hear from ostensibly. And it was so funny seeing like the 6-month open micers talking down to the 3-month open micers, and all those dynamics. But
I think that there's more to that because I've done it like 21 times at open mic and I failed 95% of the time. But
I like you're like 21 times.
Hey, if anything, I'm persistent. I'm banging my head against. What's the definition of insanity, right? Yeah. And but when you get that one little giggle, it's like heroin, right? And
it really is. I mean, it's
you're like, yo, man, you gotta know them giggles and fucking. But my stuff always, you do the flow chart of it. It always comes back to sex stuff or eating ass or something. And Brian's kind of been like
half of my material is filthy, but I'm just saying like you just hear the sort of like the same plug-in kind of like, and it's like almost like I feel like those should be that's like dessert. Do you know what I mean? Like eat your meal first,
before you eat the ass.
Yes, before you eat the ass. The ass is dessert. That's why it looks like chocolate. Sorry, that's disgusting. But it's like learn how to make a joke that gets a laugh that's not just based on people's discomfort with their own bodies, which is what most sex comedy is. It's like you get the added benefit of the intimacy that makes people giggle because it's just like we're not supposed to be talking about this stuff in public, and that's all good. But like, learn how to do a joke about spoons first. Would be
right. You don't just burst on stage, grab the mic, and go, "What's the deal with ass to mouth?" Like that kind of thing, right?
You'd be surprised.
You would. People have.
Well, that ties into one of the things, like I can see, like, reading the news every day, because it's like all the late night folks would always have their team scour what's the local news and everything like that. And reading the internet, it's like when the Taco Bell stuff hit, and it wasn't even Taco Bell, it was the original farm that made the fucking lettuce, but Taco Bell happened to carry the lettuce. And I'm talking to Brian, I'm like, I know exactly where this is gonna fucking go.
Oh yeah, and I always never end up doing jokes about that stuff, because it's just like, come on, man, even the lamest, unfunniest person in the world is going to be making these jokes. So it's like, I'm just going to let this one go by.
Yep.
And
I remember the first time I had it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's the same thing with the good nights we go to. Brian performs. I've gone go almost every week. It's just people who insult the venue, because the local one it's got a Shake Shack above it. We saw James Austin Johnson, SNL with his great Trump impression, packed house, and they were shutting down the Shake Shack upstairs, and they were moving tables and things like that. He's in the middle of doing a bit, and the first 2 or 3 times you hear the table do the Chewbacca sound, that you ignore it, but then you can feel it, and he had to acknowledge it, and he did. And he didn't go like, what's the deal? My career's tanking. I'm below a Shake Shack. And you see so many of them do that. I'm sitting here like, fuck. But yeah, it's one of those things that whenever I see something happen like that in pop culture, I'm like, the joke writes itself in a bad way.
Yeah. Like I remember the very first time that I felt that, it's just dating myself, is when Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not touching that, because every lame-o in the world is going to have their jokes. And so it's just like, I'm just going to let that one go by, and have that be public domain,
everything is hacky so fast nowadays, like, because it just gets started.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, because you're not even competing with like late night shows anymore. You're competing with literally every person who has a smartphone.
TikTok influencers, right? Exactly. Just
that was actually one of my topics I wanted to bring up was because Brian and I have also commiserated over this, because I'll sit there and I'll message him when I'm waiting to get into the show at Good Nights. I'm like, hey Brian, have you heard about Joe Bovanovich? He's a social media sensation, and Brian's just like,
all the clubs book these sensations, that that.
Oh, sure.
That come from me. New York probably not as much. I'm guessing now. Like there's a lot of real.
No, but they still get an inordinate. Right. But you're right. The road clubs, it's insane. I mean, it used to be. I mean, they still probably do. They have. Does Good Nights ever have like soap stars on like Saturday afternoons come in?
I did see one recently. I think it was like a Sunday, like 2 p.m. show. I remember like Governors in Long Island used to always have those soap stars.
That sounds like it could be actually really, really fun.
It's ridiculous. Otherwise, like, it's just people hanging out talking.
I'll never know.
Yeah, that too.
Well, we actually recently we had Stormy Daniels come through.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And that was like a big deal. And I was just like, for shits and giggles, maybe I'll go. And like, she was charging like a ton for like just the plane tickets, and then for like a meet and greet. I'm like, what? Like, no, like
for the good gag of for the first 30 seconds, just being like, now I have to sit through 45 minutes of this, or yeah. I mean, stand up. That's why stand up will never be taken seriously as an art form.
Yeah,
because it's like it's the way every person who's famous without talent tries to monetize it. Like, oh, I'll just go to comedy clubs, like Steve-O and all that. I mean, and so you're competing with that. You're competing with the Stormy Danielses of the world, and
100%. It's like
the novelty guests.
It's very insulting. It's very insulting to something we dedicate our life to and our career to. But it's like,
but at the same time, it's like having been married to a venue owner. It's like, I know how, like, you're guaranteeing a sellout, like, done. This wonderful comedian whose career I've nurtured and whose material I respect can't fill 20 seats on a Friday night, but I can
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I said comedian I respect.
Sorry. Go on.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's why, like, you'll never see somebody being like, hey, I'm famous because I was a viral sensation because I took a shit on the metro, and now I'm gonna become a guitar player, like, or I'm gonna get into to interpretive dance. Like, no, it's always
it's always stand up.
Well, then you look at
weird thing. Yeah,
the whole Michael Richards thing, which I'm sure comes up in circles nonstop. Of he already had that fuck you Seinfeld money. And then he did that whole bit where he was frustrated. I don't know if he was doing some performance art where he's just like, N-word, N-word, N-word. And then, like, he's not known now for his great career as Kramer on Seinfeld. Everyone's like, yeah, I remember that time. It's like Will Smith won an Oscar the night that he slapped Chris Rock. But everyone, they don't remember, the Pursuit of Happiness and all that. they just remember the smack and Will Smith eating spaghetti as an AI Turing test at this point, right?
So speaking of Seinfeld and Kramer, this happened last night, and you may know Christian possibly, but Gary Goldman's had a very funny bit that he did on Seth Meyers where he goes, "You're the guy who played Jerry on Seinfeld." Like he starts a bit like that, right?
Yeah.
So last night I'm leaving the venue. I'm going to my car. This lady goes, "Hey, you're the comedian, right?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Hey, you remind me of like a little bit of Peter Griffin and Family Guy, or that guy from the actor from Seinfeld." And I go, "Not Kramer, right?" And she's like, "No, the other one." I said, "George?" And she goes, "No." And then I was like, "Elaine?" And she's like, "No, the other guy." And I said, "Do you mean Jerry Seinfeld?" She's like, "Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while." I was like, "What the fuck? Are you serious?" It's not just some passing show you've heard about. Like
that actually sounds
thing.
like a really funny troll to just do to somebody,
right?
Like, that actor from Seinfeld.
Yeah,
I used to drive my wife nuts when that movie I Am Legend was out. I would constantly refer to it as I Am a Legend, and it would just annoy her every time. Like, I really want to say I Am a Legend. Just
one letter, one
just one letter, just to.
I got into a little back and forth with my therapist. Yes, I'm in therapy. And she used the term talking about comfortability. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, is that a word? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm on the way out and my wife was driving me because I'm lazy. I Googled it and it's like, yes, it can be a word, but it's very hotly contested. And I said to her, I was like, ha! But then I blew her mind the fact that Merriam-Webster actually adopted the word supposedly with a B now. Like that.
Yeah, honestly, that's how language evolves. It's people are like, this isn't a word for 50 years, and then suddenly it's a word.
or devolves, right? I mean, you look at like literally versus figuratively, and now figuratively is out the window because Starbucks messed up my order. I'm literally dying. That kind of shit. Right?
Well, we have a restaurant here in Raleigh called Irregardless.
Yeah.
So I think they just
comfortability. What is the instance in which comfortability would be better than just saying comfort?
Well, I mean, you would say in context, you found a level of comfort.
What would be the context?
I think this bed that I'm about to buy has a high level of comfortability, especially for fucking on it. I don't know.
But high level of comfort. It's the same. I have the same problem.
Discoverability, right? Yeah, like it's easy to discover. It has a high level of discoverability.
When I watch House Hunters, which I do when I'm in a hotel that has cable, something I would never watch at home, but I've watched so many episodes of House Hunters while laying in a shitty fucking Sheraton bed. Price point drives me fucking nuts. You mean price?
Oh, I love that.
When you say price point, you mean price. Like there's literally no instance in which price point.
Well, that's like an ATM machine, but also going back to those home shows where it's like, he makes birdhouses and sells them at the farmer's market, and she sells strawberries at the farmer's market as well. What's your price point? $5 million, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. There's clearly pieces of information that are not being shared there.
Yeah, I was actually holed up, and I had a major intestinal health issue a few years ago in New Orleans, and I wound up holed up in the Lowe's Hotel right there off Poiter. Surprisingly solid hotel, and the whole time I was just watching the show and not like repeat episodes, just nonstop. This guy who just gets a whole crew and he makes tree houses for people. And he had this very what's better than anything? A treehouse kind of Pee Wee Herman-ish vibe about him. And I'm like, this is compelling. I can't tell if it's the infection getting into my brain or if I want a treehouse now.
Yeah.
They try to find something to differentiate you. They don't want to be like, this dude works in private equity. That's not fun. So we'll pretend that he's a professional birdhouse maker when it's really a hobby he used to do at some point.
And now he's doing stand up across the country.
Well, of course, duh.
He's touring the world.
Boom, full circle right there.
Tell us about real quick about
call that a callback in the industry.
Yes, getting a Chappelle show, because that was a pretty big moment, pretty fun sketch that you did on the Mad Real World, right?
It was, I mean, I have always likened it to catching a home run ball. That I feel very fortunate that it sort of fell into my lap. And since I used to do just shows around New York, I mean, well, maybe that's a comedian's way of diminishing. I was doing shows around New York, and Neil Brennan, who was Dave's partner at the time, he used to do some of the same bar shows that I did, and I knew. I was obviously a massive Chappelle fan. I loved Half Baked and all that, but they were filming the show, or that's what Neil was in town for, because they were just starting to work on Chappelle's show. And he said, we have the sketch that you might be right for or whatever. And so he got me an audition, and it all kind of flowed from that. But then, of course, when I read the script, I was like, oh, okay. So when you needed a pathetic, emasculated white man to be humiliated, I was like, I know just the guy. But, it's the role I was born to play. It's fine.
Nailed it. Yeah, it's a very fun, very memorable sketch, I think, that one. The funny thing in comedy that maybe most just comedians know is the Neil Brennan versus Kevin Brennan rivalry going on with their brothers. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts? I mean, I think Kevin Brennan is so goddamn funny, but
I think he's very funny, but he's probably not a great guy.
He went crazy. He kind of lost his mind.
He went crazy. A lot of those dudes who were kind of just quietly conservative, or conservative in sort of just a dirtbag way. You know what I mean? They were just like road headliner, like conservative. Do you know what I mean? Like, hey, what's with these Mexicans? Like they were that sort of like Queens dude racist. Do you know what I mean? That like, racist for a laugh kind of thing. Like, here's my funny Chinese accent or something like that. But then I think that they all went nuts when social media happened, and they would start getting pushback about stuff that in their minds had gotten laughs for years. Yeah. People have loved these jokes, and now all of a sudden people come out of the woodwork to make fun of me for them. I also think the pandemic drove a lot of people nuts, because they weren't able to perform, comedians. They weren't able to perform, but they wanted to get a rise. And so like between podcasting and posting weird shit and stuff like that, the stuff that gets attention in a podcast or in a social media post is not the same thing as getting laughter in a comedy club, but it's sort of like methadone. It's close enough, and so I think a lot of dudes got, especially once they stopped being young and cool and kind of the world moved on without them, they started to become addicted to that dopamine rush of saying the naughty thing,
That's a great point. Yeah. I mean, his first HBO special from like the 90s is so funny, Kevin Brennan's. I
always thought it was funny. Yeah, when I
first
learned stand-up. I remember before I even started doing stand-up, I dated a girl who like was doing bringer shows, and I went to the old stand-up New York, and Kevin Brennan, I didn't know who he was at the time, but he was the host. And I remember him saying, he had a joke about elevators, like, anybody ever been on an elevator? And that just made me laugh for some reason, like, because I didn't know the sort of stand-up conceits at the time. That's a very easy thing to do. Like, hey, anybody like food here? But I still remember.
And people are, hey, how do you like food too?
Yeah.
We've had food before, right? Yeah.
It's so relatable. Well, it's so funny you talk about that casual racism, like growing up in New England. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. Yeah, the amount of times I heard freaking Ricans, and it's like, okay. Yeah. And that's I've seen some of Neil Brennan stuff, and now this is every time we have an interesting conversation on here, I'm furiously writing notes. Got to look up Kevin's stuff as well. But I mean,
his older stuff, Kevin.
Yeah, you can just go on Stormwatch and Daily Stormer, and
I mean that's the thing is like I don't want to get like all full political, but like anybody who's like hardcore, right? Like I've never seen anybody really be funny on that end, and it's just weird. And it goes back. I mean, there's offensive, and then there's just straight up racist shit. Yeah. Then you go back to when I was coming up in New England, like Andrew Dice Clay was worshipped as like this, he was filling arenas and everything like that. Mother Goose, I fucked her, and then all the New England meatheads were like, ha ha ha, like they thought that was platinum.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, it was.
I thought that was funny.
I thought it was, and I always have sort of been a person who thought of myself as being like sensitive and not mean, and like pro women and pro racial tolerance and all those things. But I was, when Andrew Dice Clay first came out, I was like, yeah, mother, hickory dickory dock, bitch suck my cock, like hilarious,
How's he do that?
Yeah.
We did. This is kind of related. So we. Just recently, I showed Cliff this. I'm not sure if did you know Dane Cook at all back up in Boston?
No, not at all. No,
okay.
I have no connection to like the Boston comedy scene at all.
Right. Yeah. So but he's got a new documentary coming out soon.
Not by the way, not that Dane Cook can be considered part of the Boston comedy scene, but anyway. I love how he tries it. He says, I'm a New York comic. No, you are not only an LA comic, you are the most LA comic ever.
Well, now, he
no, but I'm saying just in terms of presentation, attitude, like you are everything about LA that
Yeah.
makes me never want to live there. But anyway, sorry.
He's got a documentary about his brother coming out. That brother that stole all his money.
That I would watch that. That
Yeah.
does sound.
He just dropped a trailer. I think it was yesterday, right? The trailer he just came out. It should be interesting.
Well,
I remember that story when it happened. Like that was wild.
Well,
I
cry
fucking
into
didn't.
the arms of his 14-year-old fiance.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I think this is part of him kind of pivoting, like, hey, look at what happened to me, and pay no attention to the fact that I date young.
He's trying to change.
Through a connection, he and I become like email buddies. And I sent him. No, it's fine. He hasn't tried to touch me. I sent him like my open mic, and the first I made the biggest. Well, there's a separate time, and I made a big mistake of going over with my time, but I was drunk. Quit since then. Blah blah blah. But like he's like, move the microphone out of the fucking way. I was like, oh Jesus. Yeah. Like, like stand up 101. But that whole bit though, like blew my mind because I had heard just a little bit about what his brother. Was it half brother, brother-in-law, or whatever?
This is half brother Daryl.
Yeah, of course it was a fucking Daryl. But it's just like I sit there and like I've done okay for myself, right? The point where like I would never fucking ever. I don't care how my brother and I talk every fucking day. My actual brother on Google Hangouts. He lives in Southern California, and that's another rant because I think Southern California is terrible. But I would never allow him access to my fucking bank accounts, like my income statements, my bank statements. Like what the fuck?
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of people think, oh well, he's my family, so they would never fuck me over. And yeah. I mean,
stole 50 million. It was probably even more money. I mean, Dame was obviously top of the world at some point, so I can't imagine.
I can't even fathom
from him. But
and it's like, as a comedian, it's like part of the reason you get into comedy is because you want to live in this sort of state of arrested development where you don't have to you don't have to figure out adult shit like financial planning and things like that. Like I want to live like I'm 1 year out of college for my entire adult life, and so we're very easily taken advantage of in those sense. Like I just had I'm recording a new album in a couple months, and
nice.
Thank you. I wanted to say it was going to be good, but
wait, do you have a name for it yet?
I do not yet. I have not decided yet. I have not, but they sent me the contract. I just signed it. I didn't really I pretended to read it like okay, for
looks
sure.
Good. Looks good.
Yeah. Oh, item 14A A9. Oh yeah.
Typical. No problem. Yep, I've seen that before.
I definitely subscribe to a sort of needle in a haystack vibe with that kind of stuff. That's like they can't be fucking over everybody. So how do they know that I'm the kind of person they can fuck over? Do you know what I mean? Like they don't know I'm not on top of this shit.
Right.
They actually a couple things that reminds me, like my wife and I actually made a trust. We don't have kids, have no plans on having kids, but if we get hit by a bus, then want the family to have whatever we have, I'm fine. And we actually do read everything we sign, and we're going through it. It's like, okay, I so and so married Jablanovich, and I'm like, excuse me, lawyer, who the fuck is this person? And they're like, oh yeah, because it was probably some paralegal who's just like Control C, Control V, Control C. I'm like,
yeah.
And now if we died tomorrow, then a chunk of money might have gone to Mary fucking
holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's fucking terrifying.
She spelled my name right. I told her to put my name in there.
Yeah, I don't know what my other point about that was. But yeah, it's just, read the shit you sign, man. I mean, it's the whole thing, like, going back to my therapist, she got selected for jury duty. And I was like, well, Anna, can you not make the case like, I provide this valuable service to people who are in very troubled times that might, if they don't get my service. And she's like, I might take that advice. And then the whole thing, my theory about jury duty, do not quote me on this, but somebody will, was I looked up like in North Carolina, the penalties for jury duty, like you might get a $50 penalty, and then you might actually eventually have to appear in front of a judge. And that I would just appear in front of the judge and just start throwing racial slurs left and right. Be like, do you want me as your juror? But that's the thing, is like, if the system was arresting and chasing people down for not doing jury duties, and then people to perform on the jury duty to bust the person who's didn't do jury duty, the entire system of Ouroboros completely collapsed upon itself. But because I'm saying to my therapist, I'm like, did it actually arrive certified mail? She's like, yes, it did. I'm like, fuck, they figured that out.
I had a great time doing jury duty. That'll be another podcast. I'll tell you the story. I had the best. I only did it once. I had the best freaking time doing jury. It was the craziest, weirdest case, and it was a very fun time. But
yeah, I didn't get on a jury. I just went through the 3 or 4 days of sitting around, sitting on a crappy church pew in some government building for 3 days.
Yeah.
Did they give you like $20 a day and a sandwich at least?
Something like that. Yeah. It was
$40 or something. Yeah. Huge.
So going back to the comedy thing, Brian sent me this link to this dude on a podcast who was ranting about, he had like a tech bro who was just like, hey man, I think I want to try what you do. I'm going to try doing some comedy thing. And he was talking about
it was that Godfrey clip going around. You see it recently about how he's like, this isn't a hobby. This is my career, my life. Did you see that? It was like a few weeks ago. No. It kind of got pretty big. It was a Godfrey clip, but yeah, you'll probably see it.
Yeah.
No, and he made very, very great points. Like you weren't there, doing the bar mitzvah or sleeping in a
laundromat or the Chinese restaurant,
a Motel 6, and we'll get to the Chinese restaurant thing in a second.
I mean, it's like because there is no gatekeeping, comedians themselves feel like they have to gatekeep. Do you know what I mean? That it's like the world isn't going to stop Chucklehead number 9 from saying he's a stand-up comedian, so I have to do it. So I have to tell you all the reasons you're not a real stand-up.
Well, so that's why I'm like, Brian, you try to tell me something because I'm fucking around at open mics, like because I did the video game thing. Maybe I'll do it again. I don't know, but I'm enjoying.
No, but that's the way the open mics are. Where that's open for every. That's why it's called open. Everyone, But I'll have a joke that I think is good, and it doesn't land at all, and then I'm like, is this? Like all these local jaded people trying to do stand up who are like as opposed to people. Well, I will say that is definitely the case that you can't gauge a joke's strength purely or even partly on an open mic reaction, because none of the people paying attention, none of the people watching, if they're even paying attention to you at all, because they're all looking over their own notes about what their 5 minutes is going to be. And if you're making open mic audiences laugh a lot, then that's probably not material that's going to travel at all, because you're probably doing meta shit, or you're being ridiculously filthy, or you're doing stuff that's about being at the open mic, or you know what I mean. You're doing, and so you do have to understand.
There's no other job. There's no other job where you start in the worst conditions, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's such a funny thing. Like doctors don't start this way. Teachers sucks anyway, that whole job. But there's very few jobs that start. You got to start at the worst and just try to get better from here. Good luck.
And that's what, when people are and they see these comedians performing for giant theaters and oh my God, that looks so hard. It's those are the easiest shows in the fucking world, man. Those are the greatest fucking shows. I mean, the stakes are higher that if it doesn't go well, and all that. But in terms of, because people are in the mood to laugh, they spend money, they're geared to laughing. There's laughter is, of course,
they want to be there.
Yeah. And so, ostensibly, especially if you're the headliner, they're paying because they like you, and so you have room to run in a way that you don't have an open mic, and an open mic where there is skepticism and or indifference.
Yeah. Well, so that's very, very fucking good advice, because my stuff is usually I did a whole bit about God getting lazy and just having one hole to rule them all, with guys semen and piss, and then when it came to birds and dinosaurs, it's just all of it, one hole.
I'm dealing with.
I thought it was funny, but when I said one hole to rule them all, the room just lost it. I'm like, I almost cut that out. And so my thing I was talking to Brian about, I'm like,
I will say, and sometimes you don't know where the laugh is. You don't know.
Well, it was the same thing when I would do panels or keynotes with video game shit. Something I thought was funny because Battletoads was really difficult, huh? They're like nothing. And then I'll make some other aside and that'll laugh and that throws you off. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. So my whole thing is next time I do open mic, I made a section in my Word document called Basic Bitch Jokes, where is this actually, I tried this. I went with a family recently and they love going to Target. They're at Target every fucking day. I'm like, cool, fine. But I'm like, wow, we got out of Target for under $200. And another lady walking out was like, ha ha, right? And I'm like, okay, I have goals in life now.
Yeah, that's not those aren't even jokes though. Those things, and again, because I just got off a fucking cruise ship. So it's every interaction that people have it's almost like we like each other, right? We're all friends here. They're not jokes so much as amusing things that you say, and then people will laugh as a way of being we accept each other.
But
do you know what I mean? There's
Seinfeld built an empire on that.
Yeah.
What is the deal with airplane food?
But I'm talking about even stuff the kind of this sort of dumb stuff of when you're walking into a restaurant and somebody's coming out oh, sorry, they're out of food. It's okay, that's not a laugh. It's just it's a social pat on the back. It's a way of being we're friends here. We all like each other. Right. There's a very big difference between sort of amiable chuckles and actual laughter.
That's
cathartic
totally
laughter.
true. It's like the whole like in this economy.
Yeah.
Real quick, are you playing any games right now? I know you still dabble every now and then.
My wife and I moved a year ago, and for like 7-8 months, I did not pull out my PS5 because I was just like, you know what? Like, how about I just try to cauterize that wound for a while?
It's in a box. Leave it.
Yeah. But I did play. What did I play recently? I played shit.
Never heard of it.
I mean, I did play Valhalla, whatever. I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla and God of War.
Good.
The latest God of War, and watched that show Vikings all in like a 3-month span. So I was very Norsed out for a while.
Did you ever watch The Norsemen, the comedy?
I did not. Is it any good?
So good. It is so funny. It's hysterical.
Okay.
Give it a shot.
Okay, yeah, I've seen scroll by it and whatever app it's on. But yeah, I should watch it.
Add that to a queue. It's super funny.
Yeah. But I'm kind of holding out right now. I'll probably play the Wolverine game when it comes out. But I've been telling my wife, it's like when GTA comes out, like just know that I'm not going to be able to not play that. Like it's not. It's impossible.
Everyone's got GTA fever. We get it. Like people are freaking out. It's gonna be great. Everyone's gonna get it.
And I liked the what I actually kind of enjoyed those Astrobot games. The first one that came with the PS5, and then the second one. Yeah, because I never really was into any of the Mario Kart games or anything like that. Mario World or whatever. But those are fun. They're fun.
Astrobot,
I like that one.
Incredible. Yeah.
I've been gushing about the fact that, like, the term that's been used lately, banning about is sweaty games versus cozy games, and of course the sweating or lean forward and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, sure.
And then cozy, like the one I've just I've been hooked on is Power Wash Simulator. Have you heard about this one?
It's
literally.
I already get it. Like
it's all it is.
Elevator pitch.
Literally
Done.
I was telling Brian, I looked it up. It's sold a total combined across all platforms 17 million copies.
It's huge,
which is
Is it
astronomical.
a platform game or is it an app?
It's on Switch. It's on PS5. It's on everything.
It's on even VR, but it's literally like you show up and there's this pristine area, but in the middle of it is this farmhouse that looks like just shit,
just covered in shit.
Like, what happened here? I want that narrative, and then you just sit there going rotate. You get different nozzles, and and then you complete a section. It goes ding, and then you get a little more money. You get a different nozzle. You can get cosmetics, and it is so simple.
Meanwhile, there's so much actual cleaning you could be doing at any given time.
Well, that's the whole point. It's like everyone's like, well, you could do that outside. I'm like, have you been in North Carolina in the summer? And then I get sweaty and all hot, and then I have to have a hydration simulator for it. It's our cascading dependencies in there.
I'm not a cooperative dude at all. Like, I don't like playing online with other people. Occasionally I'd play like NBA 2K or whatever, or Madden, but then it's just you just hear some dude just breathing too hard into his mic and eating Doritos.
My wife plays she plays Counter-Strike, and they just have like Tourette's for shouting at the N-word, like thinking they're being edgy. I'm just like,
of course.
Wow, dude, that's really creative of you. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, I have zero interest. I just like playing the game mode. I'm old school like that.
Yeah, me too, mostly. Anything you want to mention, Christian? Before
any plugs?
Not really right now. This album I'm going to record in October probably won't come out until early 2027 is my guess. Yeah. So it's probably too early to plug that. But yeah, if you are
Substack right below.
Yes, new music for olds.substack.com, please.
Yep. Even if you're not a fan of music, it's such a funny 5-minute.
Yeah, it's a lot of jokes. It's a lot of jokes.
Very funny.
Thank you. Yes, because I agree that like most of the stuff I write about is not stuff that's in Brian's wheelhouse, and so if he's able to drive enjoyment out of it, you may as well.
Well, I mean, when you're stuck in an airport for 7 hours,
it's a good thing to read on the Turlet. That's why I usually do mine. It's great. So it's about a dump's worth of content.
Yeah, I really try to make sure every time I write about a band, I'm like, is this a full dump's worth of information? And not just the first initial 75% of the dump that all comes out. Like then there's the 25% that you have to sit around for 5 minutes and wait for it.
That's another one of the ones that I love, Christian, is the whole talking about a Japanese toilet seat as edgy humor. That's a whole other conversation that I've seen numerous comedians do. Anyway, so what we like to do is we're hitting, the witching hour here is the podcast obviously called F13, and what we like to ask everyone at the end of the podcast is, your keyboard goes to F12, but if you had a button that was F13 and you could hit it and it could do whatever the hell you wanted it to do, what would that F13 button do?
But in terms of life, or like what my computer could do?
Oh,
either or. I mean, world peace,
boy, that's a good one. What would if I had an F13, I would have a macro that just every person that you passed on the street, there would be some sort of indicator, some sort of icon above their head telling you whether you were going to get trapped into an awkward conversation with them. Like that you would know immediately, like, oh, this is a person who I'm going to regret having started talking to.
Like the probability, or like is it a probability?
Maybe a shade, maybe a different color, like a span of colors.
Red,
that, like
red avoid, green is like,
yeah, exactly. And then somewhere in the middle, like just to let you know, just how much am I going to regret having got locked into a conversation with this person?
That's one of the reasons.
Yeah. It happens a lot.
These video game conferences, I run into so many people, like, people whose name I forget. Like, what's up, dude? How you been, buddy? And then they're like, what have you been up to? And I'm like, I have a fucking meeting to get to. And it's that whole, like, okay, I've had times where I've gone into a restaurant or a bar and I see somebody that I know that I don't really feel like talking to. And I'm like, honey, let's go next door. Like that.
Oh, yeah. I'm like the least proactive person about my career. Like, I'm whatever the opposite of proactive is. I look for places to stifle my ability to make money at every way, shape, and term. That didn't make sense. But anyway, I remember once I was walking down the street and Shia LaBeouf came up to me, and he was with a woman who I didn't recognize at the time, but I since have realized it was Carey Mulligan. They were shooting that. Remember when there was a Wall Street sequel, that Money Never Sleeps, the movie Wall Street? There was like a sequel to it that came out in probably the mid-aughts or something like that. And Shia LaBeouf came up to me and he was like, oh my God, man, I know who you are. And he was actually saying he liked my stand-up, which I was like kind of thrilled about, because usually it's like a Chappelle show or whatever, which is fine too. But when somebody says they like your stand-up, it means a little more. And we walked about a block together and he was so complimentary. And I pretended that I had to go to CVS just to get out of the conversation. And I'm like, anybody else would have like tried to parlay this into something of like, hey man, like give me your number, or like we should. I could have been in a movie with him or something like that. But I was just kind of like, I have to go over here now because that's how much I fear success.
Before he told you he wanted to try doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it is Shia LaBeouf who, is a bit much.
Yeah, was he shirtless and yelling when he just saw you? Like
he was yelling. He was not shirtless, but he was yelling. This was yeah,
cool,
good stuff.
Anywho, thanks for coming, dude.
Yeah,
my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Everybody else, thank you for listening as always, and please like and subscribe. Join us every Monday on the F13 podcast, and we will talk to you all next week. Everybody, bye-bye.
Bye.